Former President is vowing to appeal after being found liable of and defamation. Calls a civil trial verdict a witch hunt and a disgrace, and his spokesperson says they will ultimately win this case.
That had defamed her, and of course the jury agreed. Then when New York passed a statutory one-year window for all previously expired claims of
former President Donald for was up early today. Carol made the rounds on morning TV, saying she feels vindicated after years of defaming her. So
let's bring in Natasha Stoynoff. Ms. Stoynoff testified in Carol's case against. She had previously accused of assaulting her at Mar-a-Lago while serving as a journalist for People magazine. Natasha, if it's okay for me to call you that, thanks for joining us. What's your reaction to the verdict?
I'm elated and very emotional about this. It's been an emotional week, I have to tell you, and I didn't expect the jury to...
This recent ruling in Carol's civil litigation case against failed former reality TV star and former President Donald Trump, who we're going to keep on calling Donnie Boy for the rest of the video so we don't have to censor, is a remarkable legal, social, and political victory for women, the rule of law, leftists, and those who seek to abolish neoliberal white supremacist patriarchy. Now let me just preface this by saying I live to see the powerful get taken down for their actions when we all know they've definitely done something wrong. When the people who constantly invoke the notion of accountability whenever it comes to political topics such as feeding the starving and housing the houseless actually have that same notion of accountability bounce back and stick to them, I get another reason to live. Moments like this are what actually restore my faith in humanity and make me reconsider if good ideas are worth fighting for. Carol had to go through this defamation case knowing that far-right fanatical fascist extremists are going to be berating her, doubting her, castigating her for telling the truth, and lambasting her for contributing to destroying the political career of the man some of them quite literally see as the Messiah. And while it can't be overstated how much of a win this is for progressivism across the world, because of this, we know Donnie Boy is a certified rapist with evergreen shipments of evidence to corroborate this. On June 21st of 2019, Carol published an article in New York Magazine stating that Donnie Boy had essayed her from late 1995 to early 1996 in the Bergdorf Goodman department store in New York City. Right off the bat, Donnie Boy immediately lied about her age, saying she was almost 60 at the time, despite the fact that she's 3 years older than Donnie, with her at the very maximum being 53 at the time. For context, during the night it happened, Carol says she ran into Donnie on her way out, and the two moved on to the lingerie section where they joked about each other trying something on. They apparently ended up in a dressing room together with the door shut. Donnie forcefully kissed her, pulled down her tights, and R-worded her before she was able to get away. Although there were no sales attendants present in the sales department, Lisa Birnbach and Carol Martin told New York Magazine that Carol had confided with them shortly after the alleged. Two corroborating testimonies against you? Not looking good, Donnie. Even worse for old Donnie, and in the interview with The Hill, he said that Carol was totally lying and not his type. Way to conduct yourself, man. The worst possible response to these kind of accusations anyone could possibly conceive of, and you literally say it. Carol then provided New York Magazine with a photo of her and her then husband meeting with Donnie and his then wife Ivana. Donnie Boy dismissed its significance, doubling down on claiming to not know who she was, despite the fact that in the picture he's not only directly facing Carol, but turned at a right angle away from his then wife. You're a legal mastermind, Donnie. Make a mental note of the fact that he was not only given this photo before his deposition, but of the context surrounding it too, because we're gonna get to it in a few sentences. Oh, but it doesn't end there for Donnie's law school. He was deposed by Carol's lawyer on October 19th of last year. In the deposition, he accused Carol and her lawyer of being aligned with Hillary Clinton, an assertion he based on, quote, somebody having mentioned it, unquote, but admitted that he had no knowledge of Carol's political party or documentation of her pursuing a political agenda. Oh, but keep watching, because it gets better. But not only did he not even cite who specifically said Carol was aligned with the Democratic Party, he went on to repeatedly accuse Roberta Kaplan of being a political operative of Clinton or the Democratic Party. You have no reason to contemplate as to why he lost this case. During his deposition, he doubled down on the claim that he could not have done it because Carol couldn't have done it because Carol wasn't his type, and told her lawyer, quote, you would not be a choice of mine either, under any circumstances, unquote.
You're my first choice.
When you said in that video that Ms. Leeds would not be your first choice, you were referring to her physical looks, correct?
Just the overall. Not. I look at her, I see her, I hear what she says, whatever. You wouldn't be a choice of mine either, to be honest with you. I hope you're not insulted. I would not, under any circumstances, have any interest in you. I'm honest when I say it. I would not have any interest in.
The video we just...
There's definitely good news and bad news here, with the good news being there's one less woman Donnie would grab by the fanny, and with the bad news here being that this guy became president and is running for that same office again. He truly is the gift that keeps on giving, or the grift that keeps on grifting, if you want to be extra critical. There's much more where that came from, because remember the photo mentioned earlier? Donnie was shown a photograph he had characterized as a reception line at a charity event, but proceeded to mistakenly identify the image of Carol as his ex-wife Marla Maples, despite the fact that his then-wife, Ivana, was right next to him, which is hilarious because not only was he aware of the existence of this picture before the deposition, but so much for not calling Carol his type when he mistook her for Marla.
You have in front of you a black and white photograph that we've marked as DJT23, and I'm going to ask you, is this the photo that you were just referring to?
I think so, yes.
Okay. And do you recall when you first saw this photo?
At some point during the process, I saw it. That's, I guess, her husband, John Johnson, who was an anchor for ABC. Nice guy, I thought. I mean, I don't know him, but I thought he was pretty good at what he did. I don't even know who the woman. Let's see. I don't know who. It's Marla.
You say Marla's in this photo?
That's Marla. Yeah, that's my wife.
Which woman are you pointing to? No.
Here.
Carol.
Oh, is that?
The person
okay.
you just pointed to was
I
E. Jean
see.
Carroll.
Who is that? Who is this?
Point, your wife.
And the woman on the right is your then wife.
I don't know.
Ivana?
This was the picture. I assume that's John Johnson. Is that
That's Carol.
Carol? Because it's very blurry.
Say it again.
It's also funny that despite attacking Carol for not remembering the exact year of the alleged incident, was unable to state the exact years of the beginning or end of any of his marriages when asked, and claimed that he was unsure if he had any extramarital affairs during his first marriage, including with Marla Maples, despite this affair having regularly been featured in newspapers. Call me crazy, but I'm not exactly shocked at the fact that the guy who didn't even realize what he was president of and proposed people shoot disinfectant through their veins to remedy the sickness that took the world by storm in 2020 would have trouble memorizing things. But that's not even the worst from this awful human being, so long as we're charitable enough to call him that. In an interview with Anderson Cooper, Donnie claimed that she actually indicated she loved the R-word, and that she said it was very sexy to be R-worded. When Carol's lawyer asked him if he made the statements in the damning Access Hollywood tape, he said, quote, "Well, historically that's true with stars. If you look over the last million years, that's largely true, unfortunately or fortunately," unquote. He also agreed he was a star.
It's true with stars that they can grab women by the...
Well, that's what it's. If you look over the last million years, I guess that's been largely true. Not always, but largely true. Unfortunately or fortunately.
And you consider yourself to be a star?
I think you can say that, yeah.
After a series of denied requests by Donnie's lawyers to delay the trial, it began on April 25th of 2023. Fun fact, the jury had to be transported by US Marshals from an underground garage throughout the trial. Just thought I'd mention this to highlight how much New York had to make sure mogalomaniacs didn't interfere with the legal process. One highlight of the actual trial was when Taki Takapina asked why Carol didn't scream during the alleged incident with her, saying, quote, "She was too much in panic to scream," unquote. She said she was surprised by the sudden turn to she alleged began with pushing her against the wall and kissing her, and ended with no communication between them. She said she noticed no other customers as she left. She said she had experienced daily regret since first suing due to feeling threatened, elaborating that she had received many negative comments echoing attacks. I'm convinced, seeing as this is the guy who right out says women let him grab them by the fanny and has a brigade of insane cultists who view him as God. Another of Carol's lawyers argued that Takapina relied on rhetoric rather than evidence and cited failure to deny the charges in person, further ridiculing the idea that Carol, Bernbach, and Martin secretly conspired to take down based on the plot of an episode of Law & Order SVU. Now that he's filed an appeal, maybe Donnie should cite ineffective counsel as his reason, because if your lawyer is saying that the conspiracy to take your client down is based off of an episode of Law & Order, I think that's grounds for instant disbarment. On May 9th, the jury convened for less than 3 hours and unanimously found Donnie liable for SAing Carol in addition to defaming her. However, Carol could only prove Donnie penetrated her digitally and not fully, because her memory of Donnie fully penetrating her was too unclear. Despite this, what's especially odd about Donnie's reaction to the verdict is that he said he'd appeal the verdict before it was even announced. Now tell me, dear viewer, do you believe for a second in your mind that if Donnie was found not liable in this case, he would have actually filed the appeal? Exactly. We know what kind of person this guy is. That being the one who claims the legal system is a political witch hunt when he gets dealt something unfavorable to him, but will also say that same justice system is a perfect example of actual law and order, and that there was never any evidence to lead one to come to a dissenting conclusion when he gets a verdict that is favorable to him. Folks, now that we've presented all the relevant evidence in this case to you, the conclusion you arrive at from the facts is entirely up to you, but we damn well know where we stand on it. The rich and powerful in this country have been able to get away with crimes any poor guy off the street would have got sent to prison for instantly. So now that this failed fanatic fascist former president has been found liable for SA in addition to defamation, makes us have the slightest bit more faith in the justice system and to keep on doing what we do. Because of Carol's heroism, we're one step closer in completely tarnishing the political career of the man who literally incited a coup attempt against our sitting government. Now I don't know about you, but when someone orchestrates something of that magnitude, they typically get federally indicted within the first 2 years of the incident, but not Donnie apparently, because he's above the law. Or was, until the law finally caught up to him. This is a sign that the values we as leftists hold dear are actually coming to fruition. Thank you so much to everyone who supported and believed Carol throughout the course of this trial, because you were on the moral side of this incident. This is a call for celebration. And to Carol, her attorneys, and anyone who supported her throughout this, thank you, thank you, thank you.